working out well. To the latter of your point is that there are lots of acts I feel that could play either event. Mm-hmm. Like the National, for instance, last year. Honestly, they did play Blues Fest several years ago.
I wish I would have seen that when they played a long time ago.
You know, that's an act that honestly could have played either event. Lord could have played either event. So, but having that event in September really gives us an opportunity to book a lot of the acts that we can't get for Blues Fest. And vice versa. There's things that we've started out thinking, geez, wouldn't that be awesome to do for folk? But they come back and say, guys, we need it to be in July. Yeah, that's just the timing on the tour.
Are there any other? I mean, festivals seem to be popping up a little more frequently, not just in Ottawa, but different cities. Are there any other really large festivals that you have to compete against for the timing, or do you sort of plan the Blues Fest weekend knowing that these groups you won't have to compete to try to get somebody to our show because there's another concert going on?
The way that I look at it is, as opposed to competing, these are potential partners of ours. Mm-hmm. Like most acts above a certain level, because they're traveling with production or they're mm-hmm. traveling with, fair amount of equipment, entourage, people, it's not easy to move around unless you have several dates.
Yeah, you got to be able to hit a couple different cities, obviously.
So we see all these events as partners, and partners don't have to be just down the road. We partner with the Winnipeg Folk Festival.
Yeah.
They're on our first weekend, and honestly, we've had artists that'll just fly in here, fly out there, and the fact that there's two really good offers makes it worthwhile to come up to Canada.
And Quebec City as well.
Quebec City's a great partner of ours. Milwaukee Summerfest, this year is a little bit earlier because we've kind of shifted back. But, Toronto, the Turf Festival in Toronto is a great partner of ours. Forecastle in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah.
It's our second weekend, great partner.
So basically the more festivals that start popping off, the better off it is for everybody, right?
It is. And honestly, what happens with these things is that the bigger artists tend to decide about, do we go to Europe?
Yes.
In that first 2 weeks of July? Or do we stick around the Northeast? Can we get, 4 or 5 offers or a certain amount of money? Often that's more the case. We need a certain nut to cover our weekly salaries for crew, rentals, everything else. And can we get that in the Northeast? Or we're going to go to Europe and start in London and rent everything over there.
And then you try to nab them for City Folk,
right?
If they do the other thing. Yeah. Excellent. So some great information. We're going to get back with a lot of value-added information in just a moment. We're going to take a quick break, listen to one more song from Steamers. This one's going to be Stay Here to Bleed. I think it's a song all about Ottawa, so it's going to be a great song. We'll be right back with Mark Monahan.
These cold winters and restless nights are getting to me. 3 feet of snow covering up my window. Getting stuck, getting stranded in this fucking dead town. Maybe I should leave, but we'll never get around to it. This place has sucked me in. Well, I stay here to bleed. This place has sucked me in.
All right, thank you so much, Steamers. So that was Stay Here to Bleed, and we're back with Mark Monahan. And I'd like to... Do you catch a lot of local acts? Are you going out to the Mavericks, Babylon, Rainbow, the Rainbow Room, House of Targ, Irene's? Do you get out there as often as you might want?
I'll get out occasionally, but to be honest with you, my sort of ear to the ground are some of my staff, and we have a group that we recruit every year called the TAG Group.
Okay.
And TAG stands for the Advisory Group. And what we do every fall is we go out to our Facebook fans and we recruit 12 to 15 college kids or high school kids. Some are 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
And we meet every week. And,
oh, wow.
And we send these kids out to shows.
Sweet.
Every week. We try to cover up all the shows that happen.
Excellent. No, that's good.
And then they report back and tell us we like these guys, we don't like these guys. I mean, actually, there's not many that say we don't like these guys. I think it's just
they might not be fitting or whatnot.
This band would really fit on this day.
Gotcha.
Right. Wow. But then also we take local submissions. So Jan 31, I think, is the deadline. But last year we had 338 submissions.
Well, because I noticed a couple of CDs lying around in your desk there, so you must have people that send you quite a few.
We do, but honestly, a lot of the submissions now are over the internet.
Yeah.
You know, it's links and stuff. But there are like well over 300 submissions. So we have a committee that looks through them.
Okay.
And we actually grade them on different criteria than we would say, an out-of-town band.
Cool.
Excellent.
So the same process, obviously, for DJs then that are local that get to play too. Or?
Yeah. So we kind of separate out, DJs, acoustic act. Like we're looking for acts that also play the theater. We have the space at Barney Dance.
Mm-hmm.
And, we also now are sort of taking folk and blues submissions together. So we'll say, hey, this might fit better with folk. That's
great.
So we kind of try and, in fairness, separate out apples and apples, so we're not comparing a DJ to a singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we come up with Blues Fest, at least 50 acts that we book. So
what's your favorite genre of music? I mean, I'm sure you get asked all the time, but I mean, you clearly love music. And you go to tons of festivals. But... I shouldn't say this, but whenever I ask people that question, hey, what kind of music you like? Most people say, well, I like everything, right? Yeah.
Which is not really
or like
an answer.
everything but fun.
It's not really an answer.
Yeah.
I am kind of an Americana fan to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not a big ballad guy. Like, I'm not, honestly, like, City and Color, Dallas, no offense.
Decemberists?
Decemberists, actually a great band. The National I love. I mean, but it depends on what you classify as Americana, right? I mean, Steve Earle, Ryan Adams, Wilco, all that kind of stuff I love. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I would say is Americana. But, I love all kinds of other music. Like, there's at different times, or depending on my mood, I also like to listen to Milky Chance, or something
Any chance of Milky Chance coming? Band from Germany,
But
from Germany, and I predicted
again,
that.
like some electronic. Yeah. I'm not a big EDM fan. I'm not going to go out and rave all night to Calvin Harris or something. But I mean, I don't mind a lot of this stuff, and I do listen to it all the time.
Oh, that's good.
Excellent. And another thing I wanted to touch on before we have to get going is right now you're also the executive director of the Blues Fest School of Music and Art, which I think is absolutely amazing. If you haven't been to this new location that we're out on Churchill, you definitely come out and see it. I think that I was here when it first opened, when we opened the festival house. It's just tremendous. Have you seen a lot of benefits from having all these festivals in one spot?
We have, and we're just again to describe the project. We were given this beautiful church, the old Westboro United Church, about 3 years ago, and we've gutted it and rebuilt the whole inside. So we now have our office space. We have 9,000 square feet here. So we have. Nice. About 6,000 square feet of office space, of which we take about half of that. So it's a wonderful place to work. One is because it's a beautiful building to come to, but also just the energy. I mean, there's creative people here. There's other festivals. There's Ottawa Festivals, which is like the umbrella organization. So it's really, we moved in here in May, and what we expected is now just sort of evolving. and all these things take time.
Yeah.
It's like with the festivals. I mean, it's sort of organic in the sense that you start out with an expectation, but sometimes it doesn't always go exactly the way you think, right?
Yeah.
So, to me now, it's great to see the school really starting to take off, more festivals moving in, lots more inquiries, and it's just it's a great spot to.
And where in the in this church, the old church, will people be meeting to play guitar, percussion, community choir, rock you? Some of the several excellent
on
programs.
what is the former church basement, which we gutted and totally renovated, is now a school.
Okay.
So it's about a 3,500 square foot space with 4 private teaching rooms. There are 3 different larger rooms where we give group lessons.
Yeah.
And there's a performance space.
And then the website's
cool.
bsoma.ca.
bsoma.ca, and we offer group music lessons. We have like family guitar classes, family ukulele. So if
that's
you
cool.
and your son or daughter want to come in and even learn to DJ together.
That's what I was
you
going
can
to
do
say.
that.
But some of the
that's
DJs,
fine.
some of the DJs we've had, he's a former DJ.
Yeah.
Andrew's a former DJ. People can't see who I'm pointing at.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
pointing at Bob Dylan.
Yeah, and it's funny actually. I always thought that would be a great idea. Yeah, no, I DJ'd 10 years ago now. It was basically when I was big into it, and I always thought because it was getting so big how great a DJ school would be.
Right.
So that's great that you fit it all right
So-
into a huge umbrella of just music school.
Yeah, we have like a DJ club. So on Friday nights, we have right now some teenagers that come in, and they're sort of mentored by DJ Illo and DJ Akra,
Oh, yeah.
Trevor and Ian.
Both we featured on the
really
show.
good buddies with both
Right.
of them too. Yeah.
And they're here like 2 hours every Friday, and we have equipment set up. We got computers down there, and they just
That's
mentor
awesome.
these kids, and we actually did an open house last week, and 2 of the guys got up and did a little set, and it was great. Parents were there, and
Oh,
it
that's
was really
awesome.
good to see.
That's great, and also art. You have a lot of art classes, so we're hitting
we have
hitting all the
life
creative
drawing.
types.
Yeah,
here.
so it's really a kind of a work in progress. But the idea is that we partnered with Dovercourt Community Center, which in Westboro here is the most prominent sort of rec center there is. And Dovercourt and Blues Fest are running this school as an arts hub for this community.
That's great.
And
And what better place than in the Westboro area, right? Like,
and we're looking for teachers and others to get involved. We just had a very successful night where we brought in some folks from Factor in Toronto, and it was called Show Me the Money, and it was how local artists can fund
Yes,
their next album.
run by
That's awesome.
U Rock Red, and there's
Samantha Everett
Samantha
was putting it on and has now done some consultations with some of the bands. There were 65 local artists here. It was
Wow.
sold out. And they got to meet some of the people that give money out to artists. Very successful. The next one we're going to do is going to be on publishing. We're going to bring a lawyer in to explain to local artists and writers how they can make money off publishing.
oh, that's awesome.
that's perfect.
So it's just topics
Great
that
work.
we're hearing feedback from people that maybe are not always accessible or there's a need for, and that's one of our mandates.
That's great.
That's great. So I guess before we go, we'll just quickly touch on Blues Fest. Have you received back all the feedback from the volunteers and everything? Like I say, I've been volunteering for 10 years. It's one of my favorite moments of the summer. I'll do it every single year. Tickets or not, I'll always volunteer.
Awesome.
Even if I have tickets, I'll still volunteer. And I really think everybody else should get it. Number one reason, because you get to go at 6 p.m. every day if you're working, or early on in the afternoon and listen to the local bands, and you'll be blown away with the bands that you don't know. And then your day is just so much better. But any good feedback back from volunteers again this year? And
Again, we tend to get feedback like you're saying, like it's become a tradition for a lot of people. Like it's something to look forward to. It's kind of like Old Home Week too. Like they get to see a lot of people every year that they don't see during the year, and that's really great to see that there's this community of people who sort of come together around festival time, who really make it a priority. And that's essentially, just a huge part of how we can mount this event successfully.
And I just hope it continues.